if your chest feels tight right now, if your mind is already running through tomorrow before tonight has even settled, I want you to know something before we go any further. That anxiety you're carrying, it didn't start tonight. It's been building for days, maybe years, and you've been trying to outrun it on your own. I've been there, lying in the dark, heart racing for no reason I could name, mind replaying conversations, rehearsing fears that never even happened, and somewhere in that exhaustion, I learned something I didn't expect. Anxiety loses its grip the moment you stop fighting it alone. Tonight is different. Tonight, you don't have to carry it by yourself, because Jesus is with you. Not someday, not when you've earned peace. Right now, in this room, in this moment. So let your shoulders drop. Let your breath slow down. We're going to walk through this together, through scripture, through prayer, through the quiet truth that has carried weary souls through every dark night before this one. You can let go tonight, because He's already holding what you're afraid to put down. I want to ask you something, not to answer right away, just to sit with for a moment, the way you'd sit with a question that doesn't have an easy edge to it. When did you start believing you had to hold everything together by yourself? Think about that. Not the big dramatic moment, though maybe there was one. I mean the quiet decision, the one nobody announced. Somewhere along the way, you decided that if you didn't worry about it, no one would. That if you didn't carry it, it would fall. That if you let your guard down for even a few hours, something would slip through the cracks and it would be your fault. That's a heavy way to live. Most people never say it out loud, because it sounds almost noble when whispered to yourself. Responsible, strong, dependable, but underneath those words, there's exhaustion. A body that doesn't know how to rest because it's been on watch so long it forgot what off-duty feels like. I think about a porch light, the kind that's been left on for years, through every season, because someone decided it should never go dark. And it never does, until one night the bulb just gives out. Not because anyone forgot to flip the switch, because light, even artificial light, was never built to burn forever without rest. Maybe that's you tonight. Not failing, just finally reaching the edge of what a human being can carry without putting it down for a while. Here's the question I want you to sit with, and I mean really sit with it, not rush past it like we rush past everything else. What would happen if, for just tonight, you stopped being the one who holds it all together? Not forever, not giving up on your responsibilities. Just for tonight, just for this hour, in this dark room, while your body finally has permission to stop performing strength. I'm not asking you to solve your anxiety in the next 10 minutes. I'm asking you to notice where in your body you're holding the tension. Is it your jaw, your shoulders, that place behind your eyes that's been tight since this morning, since last week, since you can't even remember when? Anxiety doesn't usually arrive as a thought first. It arrives as a tightening, a bracing your body, preparing for impact before your mind has decided there's a threat. And the strange, almost unfair thing is your body can stay braced for years without ever getting the all-clear signal, because nobody ever told it the danger had passed. So let me ask the second question, harder this time. If you really believe Jesus is who He says He is, not a concept, but a presence as real as the air in this room, then why does your body still believe it's alone in this? I'm not asking to shame you. I've asked myself the same thing on nights when believing felt like one more task on a list that was already too long. Here's what I've come to understand, slowly. The way most true things arrive, not in a lightning strike, but in a long, quiet erosion of old thinking. Faith was never meant to be one more thing to manage, or a performance you maintain to earn peace. It was meant to be the thing that lets you stop managing, even just for tonight. Picture, for a moment, a man carrying a load that was never his to carry alone. Maybe he picked it up with good intentions, to protect someone, to provide, to make sure nothing bad happened on his watch. But loads have a way of growing heavier the longer we refuse to set them down. Not because the weight changes, but because the carrying never stops to rest. What if rest isn't the reward after you've solved everything? What if rest is the doorway, the place where the solving finally has room to happen? Because your mind isn't being asked to fight and heal at the same time. I don't have a tidy answer tonight. I'm not going to pretend 3 sentences can undo years of a nervous system trained to expect danger. But I will say this: the fact that you're here, lying in the dark, willing to ask these questions instead of numbing them away, that's not weakness. That's the first honest moment you've had all day. There's an old image that stayed with me for years. A man standing in a field at the end of harvest, looking at everything he's brought in, and instead of feeling proud, he just feels tired in a way sleep alone can't fix. Not because the harvest was bad, because he forgot, somewhere in the gathering, that he was allowed to stop and look at the sky for a while. The work will still be there tomorrow. It always is. But the sky doesn't wait for anyone, and neither does this hour you're in right now. I think anxiety thrives in that forgotten space, where we convince ourselves stopping is the same as failing. But ask yourself honestly, how many things you've worried about this past month actually came true the way you feared? And of the ones that did the worrying beforehand change the outcome? Here's something else worth sitting with. Think about someone in your life, a parent, a mentor, an old friend who carried you through a hard season once without asking anything in return. Remember what that felt like, to not have to prove you deserved the help. They just showed up. They just stayed. Now hold that memory next to this thought. That's the smallest possible picture of what it means to be carried by someone who never grows tired, who isn't doing you a favor but has simply never stopped being present in the first place. The difference between you and that memory is that human love runs out eventually, not because people don't care, but because people are finite. They sleep, they have their own burdens, but there's a kind of presence that was never bound by those limits. Not one who swoops in dramatically to fix everything, but one who has been quietly, steadily there the entire time you thought you were facing the dark alone. So here's what I want you to try for the next few minutes. Don't reach for a solution or a plan. Just notice the question sitting in the room with you. What would it look like to let go, not of your responsibilities, but of the lie that you were ever meant to carry them without help? You don't have to answer it tonight. Some questions aren't meant to be solved in one sitting. They're meant to be carried gently, turned over slowly, like a stone in your hand until it feels less sharp. Let it sit there in the quiet. We'll come back to it a little further down this road when there's more room to hear what your own heart already knows. Let's pray together now. Not the kind of prayer you rush through before a meal, the kind you say without really thinking about the words. I mean the kind where you actually mean it, where you let your guard come down enough to be honest with God about what tonight feels like. So if you can, close your eyes, even if you're already lying down, even if your eyes were already half closed. Let them close fully now. Let your hands rest open, not clenched, palms up if you can manage it, the way you'd hold something out to someone you trust. Father, I come to you tonight not with answers, but with a heavy chest and a mind that won't stop running. You already know that. You knew it before I said a word. You've watched me carry this anxiety like it was mine to carry alone, and tonight, I want to stop pretending I can. I don't fully understand why my body still braces for danger that isn't here. I don't understand why peace feels so far away even when nothing is actually wrong right now, in this exact moment, in this exact room. But you understand. You see the difference between the threats I'm imagining and the ground I'm actually standing on. And I'm asking you, tonight, to help me feel the difference too. Lord, you said in your word, cast all your care upon him, for he careth for you. I want to believe that tonight, not just recite it. I want my body to believe it, not just my mind. So I'm asking you to meet me somewhere underneath my thoughts, in the place where the anxiety actually lives, and to do what I cannot do for myself, which is to loosen what's been clenched for so long I forgot it was clenched at all. I think about everything I've been holding on to, the conversation I keep replaying, the decision I'm not sure was right, the thing I said I wouldn't worry about anymore, and worried about anyway. The fear that if I rest, even for one night, something will fall apart that only I was holding up. Lord, I lay all of it down right now, not because I've solved it, not because I have a plan, but because I trust that you are capable of holding what I was never strong enough to hold by myself. I think about your son in the garden, the night before everything changed, sweating, afraid, asking if there was another way, and even there, in that depth of human fear, he wasn't abandoned. He was strengthened. If he needed strength in his darkest hour, then I don't have to be ashamed that I need it in mine. So tonight, Lord, strengthen me the way you strengthened him, not by removing every hard thing from my life by mourning, but by reminding me over and over, if you have to, that I am not facing any of it without you. I pray for my body specifically, for the tightness in my chest to loosen, for my shoulders to drop an inch they didn't know they could drop, for my jaw to unclench, for my breath to slow, not because I'm forcing it, but because something deeper than my own effort is settling me. You made this body. You know exactly where the fear has taken root, even in places I haven't noticed myself. I'm asking you to go there tonight, gently, the way you go everywhere, uninvited by force, but always welcome. I pray for my mind too, for the thoughts that keep circling like they're trying to find an exit that doesn't exist. Quiet them, Lord, not by giving me every answer I'm looking for, but by reminding me that I don't need every answer tonight. I only need enough peace to close my eyes and trust that morning will still come, that you'll still be God in it, and that whatever I'm afraid of will still be smaller than you are. I think about how many nights people have prayed this same kind of prayer, not my exact words, but this exact ache, across centuries, across countries, across every kind of fear a human heart can carry. People have come to you in the dark asking for the same thing I'm asking for now, just enough peace to rest, and you have never once turned that prayer away. So I won't believe you'll turn mine away either. I think, too, about every time in my life when I was sure I couldn't make it through something, and somehow I did. Not because the circumstance got easier, but because you gave me strength I didn't manufacture myself. Lord, help me remember those nights now, in this one, because my memory is short when fear is loud. Remind me of every time you were faithful before, so I can borrow that faith for tonight, even if mine feels thin right now. I confess that I don't always come to you first. I come to you after I've exhausted every other option, after the worrying, after the overthinking, after I've already worn myself out trying to fix things that were never mine to fix alone. Forgive me for that. Not because you're keeping score, but because I know there's a lighter way to live, and I keep forgetting to choose it until I'm desperate. Tonight, I want to choose it earlier. I want to bring you the anxious thought the moment it arrives, instead of waiting until it's grown too large to carry quietly. Teach me that rhythm, Lord. Teach my heart to turn toward you by instinct, the way it currently turns toward worry by instinct, until reaching for peace becomes as natural as reaching for fear used to be. Lord, where I've made anxiety an idol, where I've trusted my worry more than I've trusted you, where I've believed that staying alert was the same as staying safe, forgive me, and gently show me a better way to live. Not all at once, just one breath, one night, one small act of trust at a time. Thank you that you are not far from me tonight. Thank you that you don't require me to be calm before you'll come close. You come close so that I can become calm. Thank you that your peace doesn't depend on my circumstances changing, but on your presence remaining. I receive that peace now, Lord, even if I don't feel it instantly, even if it comes slowly, like warmth spreading through a cold room. I receive it, and I choose to trust that it's already on its way. You can let go tonight, not because everything is solved, because someone bigger than the anxiety is holding what you were never meant to hold alone. In Jesus' name, amen. Picture a room, not a grand room, not a perfect one, just a quiet bedroom somewhere, the kind that exists in 1,000 houses across this country tonight. A single lamp glows in the corner, low and amber, the kind of light that doesn't ask anything of you. It doesn't illuminate every corner. It just softens the edges of the dark, enough to feel safe without feeling exposed. Outside, it's begun to rain. Not a storm, nothing dramatic, nothing that demands attention. Just a steady, gentle rain against the window, the kind that sounds like the world itself is exhaling. You can hear it tapping the glass in no particular rhythm, and somehow that absence of rhythm is exactly what makes it peaceful. Nothing to count, nothing to track, just rain, falling the way it's fallen for thousands of years, long before you were born, long before any of your worries existed, and it will keep falling long after tonight is over. The blanket on the bed is heavier than you'd expect, the kind that presses down just enough to remind your body where it ends and the world begins. There's something about weight, real weight, that the body trusts more than words. You can tell yourself you're safe 100 times, and your nervous system might not believe you. But a heavy blanket, a steady rain, a low light in the corner, those speak a language your body understands without translation. Somewhere down the hall, a clock ticks, slow and unhurried, not counting down to anything, not warning you that time is running out, just marking the minutes the way a faithful friend marks them, present, steady, undemanding. If you let yourself imagine it, there's a window cracked open just slightly, enough for the cool night air to drift in and mix with the warmth of the blanket. That contrast, cold air, warm covers, is its own kind of comfort, the reminder that two opposite things can exist in the same space without conflict. Maybe that's true of you tonight too, tense and safe, tired and held, anxious and, somehow, still breathing steady underneath it all. Picture the hallway outside that bedroom door. Dark, but not frightening dark, the kind of dark that simply means the house has gone still for the night. Everyone who needed to be home is home. Everything that needed to be locked is locked. There's nothing left to check, nothing left to verify, nothing left for you to manage before you're allowed to rest. And somewhere beyond that hallway, beyond the walls of this house, beyond this entire town or city, there's a sky doing what skies have always done, holding stars that have been burning since long before recorded history. Indifferent to your deadlines, your unanswered messages, your unresolved fears, not indifferent in a cold way, indifferent in a steadying way, the way it reminds you that the universe was never depending on your vigilance to keep spinning correctly. Think of an old wooden chair by that same window where someone, maybe you, maybe a version of you from years ago, used to sit and watch the rain like this. There's a comfort in repetition, in knowing that rain has fallen on tired people in quiet rooms for as long as there have been rooms and people in them. You are part of an old and ongoing story tonight, not an isolated case of suffering no one has ever understood. Maybe there's a photograph on the nightstand, slightly faded, a memory from a season that felt impossible at the time but somehow resolved itself. The way most impossible seasons eventually do, even when we couldn't see how from the middle of them. You survived that one. You're allowed to remember that you survived that one, even on a night when survival feels uncertain again. Somewhere further off, beyond the rain, a porch swing moves slightly in the breeze, creaking once, then settling. No one's there. It doesn't need anyone there to keep moving gently, just as the world keeps turning gently, whether or not you're awake to manage it. There's a freedom in that thought. If you let it land, the freedom of not being essential to every small motion happening around you tonight. Imagine the floor of this room, wooden and a little worn, the kind that's absorbed footsteps, 4 years late-night trips to check on a child, early mornings before work, quiet pacing during hard conversations on the phone. That floor has held 1,000 versions of tired feet, and it's still holding steady. It doesn't ask the house to be perfect. It just continues being floor, dependable beneath whatever weight is placed on it. Let that be a small picture of what it means to be held not by performance, but simply by being present. A breeze moves the curtain by the window, just barely, just enough to remind you there's a whole world breathing outside this room, indifferent in the gentlest way to whatever kept you up tonight. Indifferent not because it doesn't care, but because it was never asked to fix what only God was ever capable of fixing. Let your breathing match the rain, not forced, not countered, just naturally slower, the way your body slows down when something around it finally feels safe enough to stop bracing. The lamp in the corner will stay lit a little longer, just so the room doesn't go fully dark all at once. But your eyes are already heavier than they were a few minutes ago. Your jaw isn't as tight. Your hands, wherever they're resting, have started to soften. This room doesn't need anything from you tonight. Not productivity, not vigilance, not problems, just your presence in it, breathing, being held by a mattress, a blanket, a window letting in the rain, and a peace that isn't dependent on you understanding everything that's wrong in your life right now. You can let go tonight. The rain will keep falling whether you're awake to hear it or not. The stars will keep burning whether you're watching or not. And He will keep holding all of it, including you, whether you manage to fully relax or not. Let the room hold you. Let the rain say what your own racing thoughts have been too loud to say. Let your body believe, even before your mind fully catches up, that it is safe to stop watching for danger and simply rest in the quiet that's been waiting for you here all along. Let's slow all the way down now. I want to read some words to you, old words, ancient words, the kind that have outlasted empires and outlived every fear that's ever tried to claim a human heart. Let them come to you slowly. Don't rush to understand them. Just let them land. From Psalm 4, I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. Sit with that for a moment. not a sleep that depends on circumstances being resolved, a peace that comes simply because He is the one keeping watch. From Psalm 3, I laid me down and slept. I awaked, for the Lord sustained me. That's not a complicated verse. It's almost plain in how simple it is. Lay down, slept, woke up, sustained the entire time. No mention of solving every problem first. Just trust and rest and a faithful God holding the in-between. From Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. A shepherd doesn't lie his sheep down in danger. If the sheep are lying down, it's because the shepherd has already gone ahead, already checked the field, already made it safe enough for rest. You are not lying down in this moment unwatched. Someone went ahead of you tonight. He continueth, He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for His name's sake. Restoration isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself with fireworks. It happens quietly in nights like this one, while you're simply still enough to receive it. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for Thou art with me. Thy rod and Thy staff, they comfort me. Even in the valley, even in the hardest, darkest, most uncertain season, the presence promised here isn't removed. It's with, not waiting at the end of the valley for you to arrive, walking through it beside you the entire way. From Psalm 34, they cried unto the Lord, and He heard them and delivered them out of all their troubles. Notice the order. They cried, He heard, He delivered. Your cry tonight, even if it's just a quiet exhale in the dark, even if it's not eloquent or organized, it counts. It reaches Him exactly the same as any prayer ever spoken in a grand cathedral. From Psalm 55, cast thy burden upon the Lord, and He shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. Cast, not set down gently and pick back up later. Cast, the way you'd throw something far from you, fully releasing your grip on it. That's the kind of letting go this verse is describing. Not a partial release, a full one. From Psalm 94. In the multitude of my thoughts within me, Thy comforts delight my soul. Even in the multitude, the noise, the swirl, the endless replaying comfort can still arrive. Not because the thoughts stopped completely, but because something steadier moved in among them. From Psalm 56, what time I am afraid, I will trust in Thee. Notice it doesn't say when I stop being afraid. Fear and trust are allowed to coexist in the same breath. You don't have to wait until the anxiety fully disappears before you're permitted to trust Him. From Psalm 46, be still and know that I am God. 2 commands, but really they're the same command twice. Stillness is how you come to know, not through more striving, not through more analysis, but through simply ceasing long enough to let the knowing arrive. From Psalm 116, return unto thy rest, O my soul, for the Lord hath dealt bountifully with thee. Return, as if rest is a place your soul once knew and has since wandered from. Tonight, you're not discovering rest for the first time. You're returning to something that was always meant to be home. From Psalm 121, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. The psalmist looked up, not inward, not at the size of the problem, but at the size of the one who made everything, including the very fears now pressing on your chest. He continueth, behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The same God who invites you to sleep tonight never sleeps. Himself, while you rest, He remains awake, holding what you can finally set down because he never sets it down at all. From Psalm 6, I am weary with my groaning. All the night make I my bed to swim. I water my couch with my tears. Even the men who wrote these ancient words knew nights like the one you might be having right now. You are not the first, and these words have outlived every night like that which came before yours. Yet that same psalm continues, the Lord hath heard the voice of my weeping. The Lord will receive my prayer. Weeping isn't the end of that story. It's simply the part before being heard. From Psalm 30, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. Whatever tonight has held for you, it is not the whole story. Morning is still coming. It always has. It always will. From Psalm 91, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. A secret place, not a public performance of faith, but a quiet abiding, the kind that happens in rooms exactly like the one you're in right now, where no one else can witness it but him. He continueth, Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness. Whatever shape your anxiety takes, nameless dread, racing thoughts, fear of what tomorrow holds, this verse was written for exactly that kind of darkness. Not to deny that fear exists, but to remind you it does not have the final authority over your night. And finally, from Psalm 127, it is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for so he giveth his beloved sleep. Sleep, here, isn't described as something you earn through enough worry or enough vigilance. It's described as a gift, given, not wrestled into existence through sheer force of will, but received, the way you'd receive anything offered freely by someone who loves you. You can let go tonight, not because the words on this page changed your circumstances, but because they remind you who has held every circumstance like yours before, and never once dropped what was placed in his hands. Let these words settle now. Let the silence after them do what words alone cannot. Let's begin where we are. There's nothing else for you to do right now. No more reading, no more reflecting, no more praying out loud. Just this, just breathing, just being here. Let your breath come in slowly and go out slowly. You don't have to control it. You don't have to count it. Just let your body do what it already knows how to do. In, out. There's no task waiting for you in this silence. No question to answer. No fear to manage. Just the quiet weight of your own body resting against whatever is holding you right now. A bed, a couch, a chair, doesn't matter. Just rest there, in, out. If a thought comes, let it pass. Don't chase it. Don't argue with it. Just let it move through the room like a breeze passing through an open window, and let it go right back out the way it came. You don't need to think anything right now. You don't need to feel anything specific right now. You're allowed to just exist for a few moments without performing peace, without forcing calm, without trying to prove to yourself that you're doing this right. There is no doing this right. There's only this. Breath, stillness, presence, presence, in, out. Let your attention move gently to your feet, not to fix anything, just to notice. Heavy, still, resting, in, out. Notice the temperature of the air around you. Cool, warm, somewhere in between. You don't need to change it. Just notice it, the way you'd notice anything that's simply there, asking nothing of you. In, out. Let your attention move up to your legs. Whatever tension lives there, you don't have to release it by force. Just notice it. Just let it be seen. In, out. Let your attention rest in your stomach, your chest. Notice the rise, notice the fall. That motion has continued faithfully every second of your life without you ever having to manage it. In, out. Notice any sound around you, the hum of the house settling, the quiet outside, even the silence itself has a texture if you listen closely enough. None of it requires anything from you. It's simply there, the same way it was there before you arrived in this moment and will be there after. In, out. Let your attention move to your shoulders. So much of the day's weight gathers there without you noticing. You don't have to drop it on command. Just let it know it's allowed to, whenever it's ready. In, out. Let your attention move to your jaw, your face. So much holding happens there too. The bracing, the readiness, the quiet effort of getting through a day. It's evening now. The effort can rest. In, out. Let your attention rest now on your whole body, all at once. Not piece by piece anymore. Just the entirety of it, resting, breathing, held. There's nothing left to scan, nothing left to check. Just presence. In, out. Somewhere above you, the same sky that's held every night before this one is still there, unseen but unchanged. Somewhere beneath you, the same ground that's held every weary person before you is still steady, still holding. And right here, in this quiet, you are simply being held to. In, out. You can let go tonight, not because the silence is empty, because the silence is full of a presence that doesn't need your words to know exactly what you're carrying. In, out. Let your shoulders settle a little further into wherever you're resting. Let your hands go soft. Let your face go soft. There's nowhere else you need to be right now. Nothing else you need to become. Just this breath, just this moment, just this quiet. In, out. If your mind drifts toward sleep right now, let it. That's not a distraction from this moment. That's this moment doing exactly what it was meant to do. In, out. You don't have to hold on to wakefulness to prove anything. Drifting is allowed. Softening is allowed. Letting your thoughts blur at the edges is allowed. In, out. Stay here a little longer. No words, no effort, just stillness, just breath, just the quiet, steady presence of being held. In, out. Whatever this day asked of you, it has finished asking. Whatever tomorrow might ask, it has not arrived yet. There's only this hour, this breath, this quiet room. In, out. Notice, if you can, the simple fact that you are still here, still breathing, still held by something larger than your own effort. That alone is enough for this moment. You don't need anything else right now. In, out. There's no version of tonight where you have to earn this stillness. It was never something you had to perform your way into. It was offered, the way light is offered to a room with its curtains open, not because the room did anything to deserve it, but simply because the light was already there, waiting. In, out. There's a kind of rest that asks nothing of you but presence. No achievement, no resolution, no proof that you handled today well enough. Just this breathing in a quiet room, being held by something steadier than your own strength. In, out. Let your mind grow quieter still. Not silent in a forced way, just quieter. The way a room grows quieter as the night goes on, voices fading, footsteps slowing, until there's only the soft sound of your own breath left. In, out. There's a stillness underneath all your thoughts that was always there, even when the noise made it hard to find. You're closer to it now, than you were an hour ago. Let yourself rest in it a little longer. In, out. If you notice your thoughts trying to plan tomorrow, gently let that go too. Tomorrow will still be there when it arrives. It doesn't need you to start carrying it tonight. In, out. Let the weight of the day settle into the bed beneath you, into the chair beneath you, into the ground beneath all of it. You don't have to hold what's already being held. In, out. You can let go tonight. In, out. That's enough for now. Just stay here, in this breath, in this stillness, for as long as you need to. There's nowhere else this moment is asking you to be. I want to say some things to you now. Quiet things, true things, not because you need convincing, but because some nights the truth needs to be spoken out loud before the body will finally believe it. You did enough today, even on the days that felt like failure, even on the days you spent more time anxious than at peace. You did enough. You showed up. You kept breathing. You kept trying, even when trying looked like simply getting through the hours. You are not behind. There is no invisible scoreboard tracking how well you're managing your fear compared to everyone else. There is no deadline for healing. You are exactly where you are. And that is not a failure. That is simply where the road has brought you so far. Your body is not betraying you. The racing heart, the tight chest, the restless thoughts, none of that means something is broken in you. It means a body that's been bracing for too long is simply tired of bracing. That's not weakness. That's exhaustion finally being honest. You are allowed to ask for help, even from God, even at midnight, even for something that feels too small to bring before Him. Nothing about your fear is too small for His attention, and nothing about His attention runs out depending on how many times you've already asked. You are allowed to rest before everything is resolved. Resolution was never the requirement for peace. If it were, no one would ever sleep, because nothing in this life stays fully resolved for long. Rest is not the reward for finishing. It's the grace given in the middle of things still unfinished. Your anxiety is not a sign that your faith is weak. Some of the most faithful people who ever lived wrestled with fear in the dark. David did. Elijah did. Even those closest to Jesus trembled before the storm calmed. Fear visiting your heart doesn't mean faith has left it. You are not alone in this room, even when no one else is physically present, even when the silence feels heavy. There is a presence here that has never once left you unattended, not for a single moment of your life, even the moments you didn't notice it. You don't have to carry tomorrow tonight. Tomorrow has its own grace, arriving exactly when it's needed and not 1 second sooner. Tonight only needs tonight's strength, and you already have enough of that to get through these next few hours. It's okay to not have the answer. Some of the most spiritually mature people you'll ever meet are the ones who learned to sit comfortably in uncertainty, trusting someone bigger than their own understanding. You don't have to know how this resolves to trust that it will. You are loved beyond what your performance earns. Nothing you accomplish today adds to that love. Nothing you fail to accomplish subtracts from it. It was settled before you were born, and it remains settled now, in this exact moment, anxious thoughts and all. You haven't disappointed Him by struggling tonight. He is not surprised by your fear. He is not disappointed by your tears. He has known the full shape of this anxiety long before you ever named it, and He has not turned away from a single moment of it. You can soften now. The bracing, the readiness, the constant low hum of vigilance, you're allowed to let that soften just for tonight. Nothing terrible happens when a tired person finally rests. You are safe enough, right now, to close your eyes. Not because every danger in the world has disappeared, but because the one who watches over you doesn't need your wakefulness to keep doing his work. You can let go tonight, not as a one-time decision that solves everything forever, but as a choice you're allowed to make again and again. Every single night this fear returns because grace doesn't run out after the first time you ask for it. You are not the sum of your worst nights. You are not defined by how anxious you've felt, how many times you've lain awake, how often peace has felt out of reach. You are defined by a love that doesn't waver based on your symptoms, your spirals, or your sleepless hours. You don't have to fix yourself before you're allowed to feel close to Him. Closeness to God was never the prize at the end of healing. It's the companion offered all the way through it, fear and all, doubt and all, exhausted nights and all. You are not weak for needing reminders like this one. Even the strongest people you admire need to be told the truth more than once before it sinks all the way in. Repetition isn't a sign of fragility. It's how the heart learns anything that matters. Your worth was never tied to how calm you appear to others. You don't have to perform peace for the people watching your life from the outside. The version of you that's struggling quietly tonight is just as valuable, just as loved, just as worthy of grace as the version everyone else gets to see. This anxious season is not a permanent address. It may feel like it's where you live right now, but seasons, by definition, change. The version of you on the other side of this one will look back and recognize how far grace carried you, even through nights exactly like this. You are still held, even now, even like this. Even with your heart still a little unsettled and your thoughts still a little loud. Held, not someday, when you've figured it all out, right now, exactly as you are. Let these words be the last thing your mind holds onto tonight, instead of the worry that's been holding you. You did enough today. You are not alone. You can let go tonight. We're near the end now. Not the end of the anxiety, not the end of the season you're walking through, just the end of this hour we've spent together, here in the dark, learning how to put something down that was never meant to be carried alone. If you remember nothing else from tonight, remember this: the anxiety you brought into this video is not stronger than the presence that's been sitting with you the entire time you've been listening. It never was. It only ever felt that way because fear is loud and faith, most nights, is quiet, quiet enough that you have to slow all the way down, the way we have tonight, to even notice it's there. You came here carrying something heavy, a racing mind, a body that wouldn't settle, a fear with no clear edges, the kind that's hardest to fight because it never quite tells you what it's actually afraid of. And instead of asking you to fix that fear in the next 60 seconds, we simply sat with it. We named it. We brought it honestly before God, the way the Psalms have always taught weary people to do, not with polished words, but with real ones. That's enough for one night. You don't have to leave here transformed. You just have to leave here a little less alone than when you arrived. And I think, if you've stayed with me this long, that's already true. I think about how strange it is, in a way, that something as simple as a voice in the dark, a few quiet verses, a slow prayer, could actually shift anything in a body that's been anxious for hours, maybe days, maybe longer. But that's not really what shifted you tonight. What shifted you was the reminder, repeated enough times that it finally found a crack to settle into, that you were never meant to manage this alone in the first place. There will be other anxious nights. I won't pretend tonight is some kind of permanent fix, because anxiety rarely works that way. It comes back, sometimes for reasons you can name and sometimes for none at all. But now you have a pattern for what to do with it, not white-knuckle it into submission, not pretend it away, but bring it honestly into the light of presence. Breathe through it, and let yourself be held until it loosens its grip enough for sleep to take over. Tomorrow will ask things of you. It always does. But tomorrow isn't here yet, and tonight was never meant to hold tomorrow's weight. Tonight only needed to hold tonight, this breath, this stillness, this quiet permission to finally rest. So as we close, I want to leave you with the same words we've returned to all evening, because some truths are worth saying until they finally settle all the way into the body, not just the mind. You can let go tonight, not because everything is resolved, not because the fear has fully disappeared, but because someone larger than your anxiety has been holding what you were never strong enough to hold alone, and he's not setting it down even after you fall asleep. There's something almost humbling about that, the idea that your rest doesn't pause his faithfulness, that the world keeps being held together by grace you didn't earn and can't lose by being too tired to notice it tonight. You don't have to stay alert for his sake. He was never depending on your vigilance in the first place. Let your breathing stay slow. Let your body stay heavy against whatever is holding it. Let your mind drift, unguarded, toward sleep, trusting that the watch you've been keeping all day can finally be handed off to someone who never needs to rest from it. Let this be the night anxiety loses just a little of its grip, not all of it, not forever, but enough to remind you it was never as strong as the one holding you through it. If tonight helped you exhale, even a little, even for a few minutes, I'd love for you to let me know in the comments below what you're trusting God with tonight, or simply that you made it to the end. There's something powerful about putting words to it, even just typing them out before you close your eyes, knowing someone else will read them and recognize their own anxious nights in yours. And if you think someone else needs this kind of stillness too, someone who's been carrying more than they've said out loud, consider sharing this with them. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do for someone anxious is simply hand them a moment like this one. And if you'd like to keep returning to nights like this, quiet, honest, held, consider subscribing so the next one finds you when you need it. Until then, rest well. You are not alone tonight, and you were never meant to be. You can let go tonight.